Anime intros often hide subtle hints about their plotlines, offering visuals that only make sense as the story unfolds. The opening sequence of Delico's Nursery Act 1 is no exception, and it is packed with symbolism that ties deeply into the narrative, echoing its themes of conflict, change, and the struggles of its vampiric society. Set to Mika Nakashima's haunting track, Unfair, the intro reflects both the story's lighter moments and its darker undercurrents, combining aesthetic beauty with symbolic imagery. A tale of darkness and renewal. At the start of the intro, we see a black cat under a blue moon, immediately setting the somber and mysterious tone. A blue moon traditionally symbolizes growth, renewal, and healing, while the black cat signifies bad luck or danger. This stark contrast hints at the struggles to come in Delico's nursery, where hope and tragedy will intertwine. The field of swords that follows further emphasizes this idea, a powerful representation of war, sacrifice, and the deadly stakes the characters face. The impending conflict seems tied to the fate of vampiric society, and the deaths of Sir Maurice and Lord Umberto are just the beginning of the bloodshed to come. The color palette plays an essential role in reinforcing these themes. The dominant hues of blue and red reflect the anime's complex dynamics. Blue symbolizes hope and divine connection, linking to the true of vamp and the belief that it is the god of vampires. Red, however, stands for danger, passion, and sacrifice, further implying that Pendulum's goals of revolutionizing vampiric society come at a high cost. Telling aristocratic portraits. The noble families of Delico's nursery are introduced through aristocratic portraits, and their compositions reveal much about the characters' relationships. In the Delico family portrait, Dali is seated with his infant son Ul on his lap, while Raphael, his firstborn, stands distantly. This distance foreshadows Raphael's feelings of neglect, as Dali's attention is focused primarily on Ul. Even though Dali's hand rests on Raphael's shoulder, their growing disconnect is clear. The Fra family portrait is equally telling. Gerhard Fra, the head of the family, stands proudly while his son Angelico sits in an adult's chair, clearly meant to symbolize the future responsibility Angelico must bear. This visual captures Gerhard's desire to groom Angelico as his heir, despite the child still being too small for the figurative and literal seat of power. Enrique Lorca's family portrait stands out for its warmth. Enrique holds his twin daughters, Elena and Lucia, smiling happily. This image reflects their loving relationship, but anime history tells us that happy families rarely remain unscathed, leaving viewers anxious about the future. Dino Classico's portrait is the most unusual. Devoid of furniture, Dino and his son Theodore stand in front of a window. The lack of furniture creates an atmosphere of isolation, while Dino's shadow looms over Theodore, representing the weight of expectations and the emotional distance between father and son. Struggles of the vampire children. The intro also focuses on the younger generation, and their individual scenes offer glimpses into their struggles. Angelico's frantic chase after a blue butterfly symbolizes his pursuit of happiness and his desire to meet his father's expectations. Butterflies represent transformation, which echoes Angelico's looming transformation from child to heir. Raphael is depicted running through a forest, clutching baby Ul in his arms. This foreshadows Raphael's potential role as his brother's protector, as he may be forced into a situation where he must safeguard Ul in their father's absence. This dynamic is hinted at in the anime itself when Dali remarks that Raphael will need to care for his brother if anything happens to him. Theodore's scene is perhaps the most poignant. He is shown lying alone in a bathtub, surrounded by the hallucinated giant stuffed animals that haunt him. This imagery is a metaphor for Theodore's emotional struggles, as he is overwhelmed by his father's neglect and the immense pressure he faces. The water in the tub could symbolize the weight of his expectations, threatening to drown him if he can't find a way to cope. Elena and Lucia's scene shows them letting go of what is implied to be their father's hand and running into the forest. This could signify a future separation from Enrique, possibly due to their cocoon phases. Their father's helpless fall suggests that he may be unable to protect them from the dangers they'll face as they grow older. Dali Delico's struggles are painted in blue and red. In the final moments of the intro, Dali Delico stands surrounded by shades of blue and red. The blue represents the hope he holds for his family's future, while the red signifies the sacrifices he will likely have to make. As the head of his family, Dolly must navigate the turmoil within both his personal life and vampiric society. The colors swirling around him capture his internal conflict and the weight of responsibility that rests on his shoulders. Through these symbolic visuals, the intro of Delico's Nursery paints a rich, intricate portrait of the anime's narrative, offering hints and foreshadowing the trials and transformations its characters will endure.